Make sure. Okay, it says we've been live for 7 seconds, but I'm still not. There we go. All right, so we're good to go. How you been today? I got up early enough that I figured I could go ahead and do a video before, I got to get ready for work and everything. And of course, we got another Masters Universe Origins figure to open up. We still got a few left of these. This one's Snake Armor Skeletor. So this is one that came out a while ago and never got around to picking it up. So this is me finally getting this figure that I kind of slept on, and I don't have any figures from this assortment at all. Looking at the cross-sell artwork on the back, Hypno. It's one of the Sunman characters. He looks to be like not like super hard to find, but like a little bit harder to find as far as like the Sunman figures go. Kind of like mid hard to find, I guess. Definitely harder than Sunman himself, who you can still get for like $4 on Big Bad Toy Store, because I guess they got a lot of Sunman. And then Snake Armor Skeletor himself, that's the one we'll be opening today. Tongue Lashor, and the mini comic version of a Roboto. None of these did I ever see at retail, and I don't believe that any of these are available for cheap on Big Bad Toy Store, except this one. This one you can get for like $12, so it's not too bad. TMNT N4W is here, and he says, yo, right back at you. So this looks also to be like a tri-language package, so that means there is a mini comic in here that I have not read, but it's probably going to be one that doesn't have any dialogue at all, so there's going to be no reading of the mini comic. So that is unfortunate. I didn't know that this was going to be one of these tri-logo packages. When I bought it, I didn't really care. Honestly, I mainly bought this guy because I felt like there was some custom potential to him. And we're going to open him up and have a look at this figure because, I've got him to open up. So we might as well do a video about it, right? So we got I've got 3 more Origins cartoon collection figures from 2000X. We got Tila and Merman and Web Store. So I'll be opening all those up soon. TMNT says, "Oh, I missed you live." No, you didn't. You're right here. We're here. We're doing it right now. We're all good. And Al Davis is here. Says, "Good afternoon, Alan. Everyone in the chat. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Hello to you too." So let's go ahead and open them up, since there's not a whole lot to read on here. We should look at the artwork on the back though, with Snake Armor He-Man battling Snake Armor Skeletor. Snake Armor He-Man being another figure that I don't have in this line. Oh, the one from 3 days ago. Oh, well, that's fine. You're not going to catch them all. I'm not a Pokemon. So, I kind of figured this guy would be like the regular Skeletor figure. Would probably be good for a lot of customs. I find that figure useful for a lot of customs. That one, the rubber tab wasn't even attached. And there's no rubber tab on the other wrist. And I honestly don't even need these snips because I can just slip these feet out of here. It's no big deal. But yeah, and I haven't been able to do videos as often lately, unfortunately, because where did the sword go? He had a little green sword. Because I think I'd mentioned before, I've been moving a whole lot of stuff. I need to get a lot of stuff out of my storage unit. I'm going to get rid of my storage unit finally. Let me see if I can. There it is. I guess it must have either fallen out over there, or I must have set it aside. So I want to talk about this sword for a little bit. First of all, this inside part of it is all hollowed out, and that makes it look really chintzy. I don't know if is this even supposed to be a sword? What it looked like to me at first was like it was supposed to be like a sword, like an Aztec, Mesoamerican kind of sword, where their swords were almost kind of like half sword, half clubs. The spikes on the side there, you see. But I don't know what the hell this weapon is supposed to be. I never had the original Snake Armor Skeletor from the 2000X line. And I don't really remember the Snake Armor too much from the cartoon. because like I guess I didn't see those episodes as often as I saw like the earlier episodes. But but yeah, it's a really odd weapon. It's almost kind of shaped like a shotgun a little bit, but the handle sticks like straight out the back. If it was a shotgun, it should kind of more angle back this way. But it's man, that's a weird looking weapon. I don't care for it, if I'm being honest. And then we have this shield. We've seen this shield before because it was reused on uh I forget which character it was. Maybe it was the Snake Man character in the 4-pack that we opened up a while back, but it's got like a fanged skull on there and all kinds of spikes sticking out of it. The shield's pretty cool. I like the shield. It's maybe a little oversized, but a lot of the 2000X accessories were oversized, so I don't really blame them for making it that big. And then we have Skeletor himself, and this is a little different from our traditional Skeletor. First of all, he's got this big snake armor breastplate with this hood that kind of goes over the back here, you see. And looks kind of like, honestly, to me, this whole setup with the armor and the helmet reminds me a lot of the Conan the Adventurer cartoon. The villain on that, Rathamon, reminds me a lot of his look. You know, if you imagine this in green, it looks a lot like Rathamon's armor and Rathamon's helmet, but it's Skeletor wearing it. Bobby Wald is here and says, you gotta pull in Arnold. What the hell are you? He does look a little like Predator, doesn't he? With the mandibles and everything. I can see that. But yeah, like kind of like Serpentor also. Little bit like Serpentor. He's got that kind of look going on. Like if I wanted to do a Masters Universe Serpentor, I could very easily like try to peel this. It's not a removable helmet, but I could try to peel it off and glue it to a different head. Let's have a look. I'm going to pull the head off so we can have a better look at this helmet. Now, one thing is he actually is wearing the traditional Skeletor hood underneath the helmet, because you can see a little bit at the jaw here. When I say I mean the 2000X version of the traditional Skeletor hood. It's not like the 80s toy, which honestly I think would have been cooler. But but then the side of the helmet, even though that is clearly supposed to be part of the helmet, it's got ridges to it and everything. It's painted the same color as the hood, apparently. But most of the helmet is painted in this just slightly metallic, kind of coppery color. And it's got little, looks like silver fangs to me. And then this top part is silver, where it looks like it's a kind of a stylized snake head on there. So he's got an armor. He's got a helmet. He's got a helmet. Oh, this thing. What the hell are you? Yeah, I don't know what this thing is. I don't know. Al Davis says the shoulders give me Hank Pym Yellow Jacket costume with the huge swooping shoulder flares. The Thuggy cult leader's snake dress, the Kalima. Yeah, Molaram. That was that character's name. Molaram. You know, I'd seen a thing where somebody had posted on Facebook asking what Steven Spielberg's greatest movie is, and most answers were Schindler's List, which is probably his best movie, like in terms of like, you know, quality filmmaking or whatever. It's definitely like his best Oscar bait type movie, I think. You know, he's done a few Oscar bait type movies, but that's definitely his best Oscar bait type movie, no question. And then E.T. obviously would be another one that people were talking about, with E.T. being like the greatest Steven Spielberg movie, and that's understandable because I think that's where a lot of people, like especially of my age, of my generation, that's where a lot of us fell in love with Steven Spielberg as a filmmaker. And I think at least up to that point, maybe it's been surpassed since then by something else he's made, maybe Schindler's List even. Steven Spielberg at the time said that that E.T. was his most personal film, and of course that's something that you got to kind of consider when you're considering things like this. But my answer, and I was the only person who said this, and I was kind of surprised by it. I kind of figured like you know, it would not be the main opinion, but I figured maybe one or two other people might have said it already, but I was the only one to say it that I saw. Raiders of the Lost Ark was the one that I picked because it's pretty much everything that I want a movie to be, and it's just a perfect film. So, but yeah, like he's done a lot of great movies. You know, Steven Spielberg, he's a great director. He's done a lot of great movies, and he's done a lot of movies that weren't so great too. Like no, unless you're Stanley Kubrick, and honestly, Stanley Kubrick didn't make that many movies, so it's pretty easy for him to not, make as a bad movie because he's pretty particular about what he made. Like everybody's gonna strike out every once. Even Babe Ruth will strike out every once in a while. So yeah, I'm sure we could think of some bad Steven Spielberg movies, but even the bad Steven Spielberg movies are better than a lot of filmmakers' best movies. Like Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is not a great movie, but I would say it's better than any movie made by Uwe Boll or Paul W.S. Anderson or somebody like that. Al Davis says Jaws for me. That's another one I saw. A few people said Jaws. And Hook. Hook's a good one. I like Hook. And then Bobby Wald says, I thought it was interesting that Steven Spielberg fired himself for creative differences on that last Indiana Jones movie. Yeah, well, I think that was a good decision on his part. I think he probably came out of that better than anybody else. I was joking about Always and Hook, but I have a couple of soft spots for them. Raiders is a perfect family adventure action all-rounder of a film. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I kind of felt like that was if I'm going to say his greatest movie, I'm going to say that one. That's going to be the one I'm going to pick. And it might not be his technically best movie. I would say though it would definitely be one that should be part of the conversation is what I'm saying. I was kind of surprised that nobody said Raiders of the Lost Ark. Hell, I was kind of surprised nobody said Last Crusade because that's one that tends to get a lot of love. So if we take the breastplate off of this guy and it straps on its sides here, once we get this off, he's pretty much identical to the regular, without the head and without the breastplate, the regular 2000X Skeletor. But there is one other difference, and that's his left hand, which you can see his left hand is open in like a claw kind of gesture. And if I remember correctly, this actually looks closer to the way that the original hand looked than the one that previously was coming on the Origins figures. So I really like this hand. I think that's a nice addition. I was thinking that this was just going to be straight up the same exact figure as the 2000X one, except for the head and the armor. But nope, it's got that different hand. So that's kind of interesting. And this armor is it's a really soft, flat, pliable, rubbery sort of plastic. It's got the two straps on the side, like I was talking about, that look very vintage Motu with that type of strap to it. Now I do have a version of this that I can 3D print, but that version doesn't have straps on it. Interestingly enough, it just kind of supposed to clamp onto the figure, and it doesn't fit quite as tightly as I wanted to. So for the custom projects, that's a tease. For the custom projects that I'm working on with that, I'm probably gonna put some felt in between, and I think that should tighten it up. Just kind of stick a little bit of felt to the inside of it. But yeah, honestly, like a lot of the 90s babies really love Hook, and that's a movie that tends to come up a lot as far as like when people of not quite the generation but the younger, like the older millennials, I guess. People like my sister's age. My sisters are like 8 years younger than me. Two of them are twins. And like one of them was from my dad and the other two were from my mom. That's how you get that. No straps, I'm not familiar with that phrase. I'm afraid. But yeah, like it doesn't have straps at the side. It just kind of the 3D printed version. It's supposed to just kind of clamp over the torso, but it doesn't fit quite as snugly as I think they had anticipated. If I'd have thought about that, I'd have brought one of the figures that I printed out for. They're both kind of work in progress right now, but I'd have brought one over so that we could have a look at it. So yeah, the shield clearly is supposed to go on this hand, and I guess that's why they gave it an open hand. So let's go ahead and put the shield on there and see what that looks like. And there he's got the shield. And like I said, the shield's really cool. And then whatever this thing is, I don't even know. And there he is with that. So you know what I would rather had than this is literally anything else. but you know, besides literally, a pun on nondage. Oh, I see. I'm sorry. I got you now. Okay. I see what you're doing now. Okay. All right. My fault. But yeah, like the shield's a good weapon. This green thing is not. I don't know what the hell this thing is. What I would have rather seen than this, like I said, really anything. But you know, the version of the 2000X sword that came with the regular Origins 2000X Skeletor or the Havoc staff, either one of those would have been a better accessory to include than this thing. It's difficult typing auto puns, Al Davis says. Audio puns, yeah, that is a problem, especially like when you're dyslexic like me and you gotta kind of guess. Oh, there is one other little difference, and that's on the regular 2000X Skeletor. That little gem on his knee pad, on his shin guard, right where the knee is. There's like that little gem that's painted in kind of magenta. It's not painted in on this version, so that's interesting to note. So, but that's what he's supposed to look like when he's all geared up. And I know some people are gonna look at my criticisms of the accessories included. Well, at least this accessory. I like this one. I like the shield. They're going to look at my criticism of this accessory and be like, hey, the original Snake Armor Skeletor came with that. And I'm going to be like, well, the original Snake Armor Skeletor should have come with a Havoc staff or the sword. So that's my criticism of that figure that I ever actually owned. But anyway, it's not a bad looking figure overall. And like I said, I think overall they were kind of going for more of a Mesoamerican look with this Skeletor design, which is an interesting way to take it. It's not something that we often see in Masters of the Universe at all. And like the original Man-E-Faces design was kind of Mesoamerican inspired, but of course, most of those elements didn't make it to the final production figure. And it certainly isn't something we see on Skeletor an awful lot. Skeletor is usually just kind of like a generic sort of ghoul looking character, and he's got like elements of, I kind of feel like, just kind of general sword and sorcery kind of characters to him usually. Like he definitely has like elements of, you know, Robert E. Howard type characters. He's got some kind of Greco-Roman elements to him, especially with like the gladiator kilt. He's got some kind of medieval elements to him. The cowl, I kind of feel like, is very sort of like medieval with the hood and everything like that. And of course, the imagery of the Grim Reaper is something that Skeletor swerves into a lot, which is why I kind of feel like the hood is just kind of the definitive look for. Yeah, see, Al Davis was already thinking that too. He probably typed that at the same exact time I was saying it. So, because it just popped up in the chat. And he probably entered it in before I even said anything about it. So, but he was already thinking along the same lines as me. Is that, like, you know, because the Grim Reaper is kind of like one of those, like, just sort of classic. Like you see that in a lot of cultures. I guess that's the sort of thing where, like, you just have like this this skeleton in a shroud, and that's just something that leans across a lot of cultures. Charon the Ferryman, remember in Clash of the Titans? Like, he had that kind of look going on too. Like, he was, I guess, their version of the Grim Reaper at that time. But funny enough, of course, Mattel made the Clash of the Titans figures, so I guess that was kind of almost their dry run on Skeletor in a lot of ways. Also, that figure wound up looking a lot like the Emperor in Star Wars, and sometimes I'd see him across my room and get him mixed up with the Emperor figure. It's even like the same color of gray, which is weird because I think both of those characters wore black in the movie. And Al Davis says, same as Dia de los Muertos. Am I saying that right? Am I getting my Spanish pronunciation correctly with my rolling of my R's? My mom can't roll her R's. She was trying to learn Spanish for the longest time, but she could not roll her R's. I tried to teach her how to do it, but it's a hard thing to teach how to do. It's very very instinctive, I think. Even though we're not going to read the comic book, let's go ahead and have a look at it. So we got the Talon Fighter here, and Roboto is flying it with what was that guy's name again? Hypno. And looks like the Hypno's bird is leading the way. I wish I could tell you what Hypno's bird's name was, but there's no words. And we got Snake Mountain, and we got Skeletor and Evelyn and Merman, and then Tongue Lashor, which makes sense because he's in this wave, and Cobra Khan and Ratlor, General Ratlor for the 2000X fans. And then I don't know what is going on here. It looks like there's some snakes all kind of curled up, and then they're all at a dinner table, and yeah. So I don't know what they're having for dinner. Probably meatloaf. It's rather a tender subject. And then Skeletor is pondering the power sword. Man, this is a comic that could really use some dialogue to it. I'm just saying. This is, I think, kind of a flashback or something. Because it's Skeletor in the regular Skeletor type outfit, not in the snake armor outfit. And then all of a sudden, Hypno and Roboto appear inside, and it looks like they're about to do battle. And there they are doing battle. And hey, look, Skeletor does have the Sword of Power. How about that? So that would have been a cool accessory to have come with them. We got like a little bit of a face off here, and Hypno's got his big old lollipop. I think it's supposed to be like a swirling Hypno disc, but to me it looks like a big old lollipop, and he's clashing it up against the power sword. And Skeletor looks like he's been hypnotized in this panel. Also, I want to point out that Merman is blue, like the early mini comics design of Merman, as opposed to the Lords of Power figure actually was kind of green. And then this slime monster looks like Roboto's trapped in some tentacles, and I guess Hypno's telling it to go away. And then He-Man finally shows up in the Masters of the Universe mini comic. Al Davis says Bones Thugs and Lobster Thermidor. There we go. It's like Skeletor serving up Lobster Thermidor, and Clawful's just over there like, really? Really? Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about the articulation on this guy, since we haven't done that yet. So Skeletor can have his head just completely removed. This is an origin figure, by the way, in case I haven't mentioned it. So, of course, it comes apart like origin figures tend to. But it looks like he can only look up about that far. The helmet kind of bumps into the back of his neck there. He can look down about that far. Tilt his head kind of quizzically from side to side. Rotate the head all the way around, but then it kind of pops off because it bumps into stuff. Now, the arms can rotate all the way around the shoulders. These big old yellow jacket pauldrons we were talking about earlier. And then they can raise up to the sides about that far. And then he's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow. Cerebral pastries? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Then the arm rotates all the way around at the elbow. The wrists rotate all the way around, and they have a horizontal hinge, which moves back and forth like so. Skeletor can twist around at the waist and come apart at the waist, like most of these figures can. Skeletor can kick up about that far, which is not very far, but that's about par, of course, for these Masters of the Universe Origins figures. He can do the splits no problem. He does have the Gladiator kilt, and it does kind of flex out of the way, and it did kind of come loose when I did that. So be careful with that. And then let's see if we can get this strapped back together. Voila. And then he's got a single joint of articulation at the elbow, a little stiff on this one, but that's it when it's straightened out. That's how far it bends in. Rotates all the way around. He's got a boot cut, so the boots rotate all the way around. And it does seem like the plastic they used on the shin guards this time is a little more pliable than the stuff they used on the previous Al Davis says, I've got it. At their dinner party, they eat ribs. You can't go wrong with ribs. That's what I got to say. Skeletor's foot can point down about that far, point up about that far, and then that, of course, that rotates all the way around. So this is not a bad figure, but I can't see this being anybody's go-to Skeletor figure. I figure there's got to be somebody in the world who looks at Snake Armor Skeletor and says, "Yep, that's my definitive version. That's you don't get any more Skeletor than that." But personally, I don't see it. I don't know why anybody would make that decision. It's not a bad figure for like a variant version of the main villain of the line, but it's also like just kind of like it's far off enough from the traditional design of Skeletor that I don't think many people would note this as their definitive version, even if they like it. It might make somebody's top 3. Might even be somebody's second favorite version of Skeletor. But I doubt there's many people who are going to go, Snake Armor Skeletor, that's my guy. You know, like, it doesn't always have to be like the first version, the default version, to be somebody's definitive version. Like I've mentioned before how, like, when I was a kid, and to this day, my favorite version of Skeletor was actually Battle Armor Skeletor. And I know there's a lot of people out there who love Terror Claw Skeletor, a lot of people out there who love Dragon Blaster Skeletor, you know, and I'm sure there's got to be somebody who loves Snake Armor Skeletor in that sort of way. I've never heard from anybody who feels that way. So if you made it this far in the video and you do feel that way, please let me know in the comments. And hell, whatever you feel about the Snake Armor Skeletor design, let me know in the comments. I'm interested in your feedback onto this particular version of the Lord of Destruction. I gotta say, I don't think it's too bad for like an alt version, but I'm not really that impressed with it either. I'm gonna make some suggestions as to what I would have done differently with this figure. I'm gonna kind of Sunday morning quarterback it a little bit. And one thing that I would have done differently is I would have made the color choices a bit more cohesive. I kind of feel like is either I would have made the armor and the helmet purple, and that would have been the most likely thing I would have done, is make the armor and the helmet purple. Or if I really wanted to use this copper orange color, what I would have done instead is I would have made the gladiator kilt and the bracers and the shin guards in that color as well. So he would have just had like an all orange suit of armor. I think that that would have been the way to go with that. That's just that again, just me kind of like armchair quarterbacking the thing. That's what I would have done it. And again, not this accessory. He would have either had the sword or the Havoc staff. I wouldn't mind sacrificing one of those weapons to have this shield. I think that's good, but I definitely wouldn't want to sacrifice the other one for whatever the hell this thing is. Or I would have just included it as an extra. I would have had just 3 accessories to it instead of just 2. Bobby Wald says, I like the SDC Skeletor missing a tooth because Molar got him. Yeah, like a friend of mine, when he was a little late to the party on Classics, and that was the Skeletor he got. And I'm like, you know, I probably have an extra Skeletor head if you want it, so you can put it on there. So he's like, no, I really like it without the tooth. And I'm like, okay, bro, whatever. So he actually did really. I don't know if I see it. He said that was his definitive Skeletor of all time, but he was perfectly happy with that being the representation of that character in his Classics collection. Not the orthod entist. Some of those visual things, but I think, or audio things, but I think I actually got it this time. Al Davis says X great, Y good, Z meh, A poop. So I guess that's enter in those letters to let me know what you think. But anyway, or Chompar. Chompar would probably be Molar's nemesis. Like he just have like a whole big, just huge, ridiculous mouthful of teeth, and he comes in and Molar is like, I'm going to be here all day again, aren't I? Cancel all my other patients, Doris. We're going to be busy in here today. Anyway, I think that's it for this episode. This guy's going to be mostly custom fodder in my collection. So he's not really going to be part of my collection. He's just going to be custom fodder. I'll probably wind up using the body for something that, like, you know, because like I said, this body's always good for customs. And this head, I had specific plans for. I'm going to do a different version of Skeletor entirely, and I'm going to use that head as the basis for it. So hopefully that should turn out really cool. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please make sure that you like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think about this figure. I don't know when the next episode is going to be, because like I said, things are kind of hectic with me having to move a lot of stuff around. And like last week, TMNT says bye. I was still watching. Well, that's good to know. So yeah, but yeah, always good seeing you guys. Always good seeing TMNT and Al Davis and Bobby Wald, and if you're somebody in the chat that's just kind of lurking, I'm glad that you're here too. So always nice to see, and anybody who's watching this in the replay, of course, I'm always glad when people watch it in the replay. I always love that. So, but that's it for this episode. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. I'm not sure what I'm going to do next episode. I do still have, like I said, those cartoon collection figures to open up with Tila and Merman and Webstore, and those are all going to be bangers, I'm sure. And we got some Masters of the Universe type figures to open up. We got a lot of DC stuff that I still got to open up. I still got a ton of McFarlane stuff, and I already got my first Mattel DC figure because I got Batman, and I'm definitely going to want to open them up soon too. Al Davis says, hope you're doing well emptying your unit. yeah, it's going all right. The main thing is I've got a ton of comic books I want to get rid of. So my friend Kyle, who owns Galactic Quest in Lawrenceville and Beaufort, for any of you in Georgia who want to stop by a comic book store, he's going to come by and take a look at them and just probably give me something he thinks is fair for it. I don't know if it's actually fair, but something he thinks is fair for it. But mainly, I just want to get rid of them. So yeah, I'm not too concerned about it. So I got way too many comic books, way more comic books than anybody ought to have, and I want to keep my GI Joe, and I want to keep my Batman comics, and everything else. I think I'm just gonna try to get rid of. Yeah, Tetris. Think 3D Tetris brain. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. But at this point, I want to just get like to where we've got a clear Tetris board, because I need to just get rid of that one. Al Davis says, and Robin too. Well, I don't have Robin yet. Oh, do you have Batman and Robin yet? Do you have any of those Mattel figures yet? I'm looking for Robin. I do really like that Robin figure. I like that particular design, which for those of you who don't know, that design, I'll talk more about this when I get the figure and open it up. But that particular Robin design is supposed to be the modern, like, post-rebirth version of what Dick Grayson's Robin costume looked like. So that is a Dick Grayson Robin, which is funny because they're also going to have a Nightwing in that line. So we got two Dicks in that line. But no other Robins yet. I figure, well, they'll probably get around to doing some other Robins. I'm surprised they didn't start with Damien, because they usually start with Damien these days. But personally, I'm glad, because I really like that particular Robin costume. I think that's probably my second favorite Robin costume after the Neil Adams style Tim Drake suit, and then the original Robin would probably be a close third. Al Davis says, if you have any Image Kirkman ones, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I might. I don't know. Might have somewhere deep buried in. I wasn't like collecting Walking Dead hardcore, but I think I might have the first issue. But I don't know. So it's like there's a lot of stuff there. Like I said, I mainly want to pull out my GI Joe, and I want to pull out my Batman, and everything else I'm looking to get rid of. Just because it takes up so much space. And nowadays, like, a lot of those comics I bought back in the day, because we're talking like the late 90s, early 2000s, because a lot of that stuff hadn't been reprinted, and it was just like the only way you could get it. So if we're talking like Bronze Age comics, there was a lot of that, Iron Man and Incredible Hulk and Captain America. A lot of that kind of stuff just had never been reprinted, and I liked reading a lot of that kind of stuff. I bought these comics to read, and nowadays I can just pull whatever comic book I want to up on my phone, so I don't really even need the physical comics anymore. But there's still some that I want to keep for sentimental value, if nothing else. And I definitely want to keep my G.I. Joe, because that's like one of my favorite comic book series of all time. Maybe my most favorite comic book series of all time. And I definitely want to keep my my Batman, because that was one of my long-term goals. Is and I might get back on it one of these days, is I want to have every issue of Batman from issue number 300, was it issue number 200 is when my run starts, and most of the 200s are fairly sparse. It doesn't start to get solid until like 400, actually. Like from 400 on, I have everything. I'm not missing a thing. From 300 on, there's still a few holes in there. From 200 on, I think I maybe have like at most 50% of it. But I've got a lot of key stuff. I started with 200 because that was the first actual issue of Batman that Neil Adams worked on. He did the cover for Batman number 200, just the cover. But for me, what I decided was my definitive Batman in my head, my favorite version of it is that Bronze Age version, that Neil Adams version. That's my favorite version of Batman. So since that's where he started on that title, that's where I started on that title. And I've got a lot of cool stuff in there. Like I've got like the first appearance of Ra's al Ghul and things like that. So I one day, maybe when I got a little more money, I might like to try to get back on that and try to finish that collection. But I'm sure a lot of those Batman comics in the 200s have gotten a lot more expensive since then. So, but yeah, I do have a full run of Batman from 400 on to the final issue of Batman. So I'm not counting any volume 2 bullshit. I'm not counting any new 52 crap. No, you restarted the numbers. The series is over. You don't get to go back to the old numbers. I don't care. I'm not paying any attention to it. So I have the last pre-new 52 issue of Batman. That's where my run ends, because that's where the original series ended. I don't care what. Al Davis is worth about $3,000 now. Almost have everything Kirkman released. Got every issue of Walking Dead and Invincible. Just curious. That's fine. So maybe $5,000 if it's in good condition. Also for Walking Dead issue number 1, first printing was only $6,800 to 11,000. I'm just gonna round up. We're printed for issue number 1, first print runs, and then Al Davis has got to sue your cash for your wife and kids. Use your cash for your wife and kids. Yeah, I get a little dyslexic sometimes. Wherever they're at. I don't have a wife and I don't have any kids that I know of. So maybe one of these days. Now Davis says, I'll keep my peepers out for Batman issues. I had a whole list of everything that I needed, but I don't know where it is now. I don't know if I even still have it at this point. But yeah, one of these days I'd like to get back on that horse. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to go ahead and call it a day. Then I can maybe have I got time. I can have a little bit of a nap before I got to go to work. So that's going to be it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll talk to you next time. Bye.